a lot of people who are following the crowd, they are following other followers. So nothing is wrong with following people. Like I follow people, but I need to follow somebody who has a goal that I want to achieve. That culture is not helping us at all. It's making us fail. And if we can revert back to a culture that kept us intact for generations, when families are divided, the system end up benefiting from that, but we don't look at that. We think that, okay, well, leaving, being single or leaving, as a young person, 18, 19, go living by myself. There are lots of ways where the system will start benefiting as soon as people start to scatter around.
As soon as we came to this country, it's like, okay, we forgot our culture. We forgot who we are, where we came from. We forgot our identity. We forgot, the discipline and the beauty of the culture. We forgot all of that. And then we're adapted to new culture. One thing that I would basically say to the Sudanese sisters who are single mothers, to basically, the other question is that how would you encourage our young South Sudanese that are going through the same challenges that you have faced? Why do you think there are so many single fathers and single mothers in our South Sudanese community?
A few people who became single, not because it was the man or the woman, it was because of a dowry problem. You see what I'm saying? So the girl got pregnant and now the family is asking for too much dowry, caused problem, people became single. Now here was not the guy or the girl's problem, now that was the family contributed to them separating, because sometimes our culture is not that great either.
What advice do you have for us as a community?
We African, and today the South Sudanese, we are the largest African here in Australia. We are following a culture that's not helping us, right? And
absolutely.
And that culture is not helping us at all. It's making us fail. And if we can revert back to a culture that kept us intact for generations, we might have, we might see some light at the end of the tunnel.
Just a small encouragement for our sisters who are single mothers. How would you advise them?
There are people, older people in our own community who are not doing the right thing themselves. You see? And then it's hard. And those are the same people that later you will see them in some meeting saying the younger people are not doing the right thing. And that's what I said earlier. We are pointing fingers to all different directions. We have our families these days like to do things like, instead of saying, hey, look, my child has a problem, but we say, my child doesn't have a problem. It's that other child that is the problem. We blame each other, right? So, and it makes it even harder, because when we start pointing fingers, then that means we are not pointing finger to the right problem. Hi guys, this video is brought to you by ZUZU, LMTV, and Seeds of Empowerment. The topic for today is the empowerment of South Sudanese youth. However, we are going to be discussing various issues concerning our South Sudanese community in the diaspora, but in particular here in Australia. We are going to be discussing issues related to our community, such as the high rate of single mothers, single fathers, and other issues concerning our community. The purpose for making this video is not to offend anybody, but to encourage and empower, in particular, South Sudanese youth. I'm going to be conducting this discussion with none other than Miracle. So we are not here to just tell you any story. We are here to share valuable stories. So if you're interested in this discussion or you want to hear our story, please continue watching this entire video.
Greetings to you all, and welcome to Seeds of Empowerment. My name is Miracle, and we are here with our guest speaker, ZUZU, and we're just here to talk about this South Sudanese, what is really happening in our communities. And our brother ZUZU is just going to answer some few questions. ZUZU, could you please just tell us, just introduce yourself.
Thank you, Miracle. Well, to those people who don't know me, who never met me, some people will know me by my YouTube channel. But to those people who don't know, my name is ZUZU. I have a YouTube channel. It's called ZUZU LMTV. I create lifestyle videos, motivational videos, and those kind of things. And I also do mentoring on the side. And none of these things that I've mentioned, I do it to make any income. It's not for income purposes. So yeah, if you want to know more about me, you can head to my YouTube channel, ZUZU LMTV. So that's me.
Yes, wonderful, wonderful. Yes, guys, do please follow him. He has really inspiring videos there. Um, so I do really highly recommend you to go and check his video out. All
Thank
right.
you.
Okay, let's get to it. So, the first question that we have is basically, what are the challenges that you went through in life, and how did you overcome those challenges?
Um, so the challenges that I've been through growing up um, in Victoria, Australia, or growing up in Australia in general, is associating with the wrong crowd. It was kind of difficult, you know. I've tried to avoid hanging around with the wrong crowd, getting involved into substance abuse, and
Mm,
um, yeah. So it was very challenging because growing up at the time, it was kind of a trend that everybody was getting into. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was getting into, and trying to stay away from that trend. You know, when a new trend comes out, everybody, head to that direction. So it was kind of
yeah,
a, yeah, it was a little bit of challenging, but I've managed to go through it to stay out of those things. Substance abuse, violent, and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I found challenging, but I've managed to get through.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So how did you basically come out of those things, those challenges that you were facing at the time?
So in my own opinion, I reckon that because for me, I've always, even since a young age, I've always had a goal and had a plan and had a vision, right? And the way I look at it, a lot of people who kind of it started going toward that direction. Most of these people had no plan, had no vision,
Yeah,
and that's. But for me, it's like I've got a vision, I've got a goal that I need to achieve. So I'm gonna, try my best to not get myself involved in this thing. Otherwise, that will distract me from reaching the goal that I want to get to. Obviously, it's like my goal is this way, everybody's going the other way.
yeah,
So, and I had to make a decision to either follow my goal or follow everybody
yeah,
else. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that
Mm,
is very true. One thing that I like that you just said, removing yourself from the crowd,
mm,
as long as you are remaining in that crowd, you'll never know who you are, or you would have never
mm,
overcome that
mm,
challenges.
correct.
That's wonderful.
Mm.
The other question is that how would you encourage our young South Sudanese that are going through the same challenges that you have faced?
Um, I would probably make some reference from the first question. I reckon that a lot of people who are following the crowd, they are following other followers. So
Mm,
nothing is wrong with following people. Like I follow people, but I need to follow somebody who has a goal that I want to achieve, right? But
yeah.
the people who are followers, they are following other followers. So just followers following more followers, and those other followers are following other followers, right?
Mm,
And following somebody doesn't have a goal, following other people who don't have a goal. So what I would suggest or say is that it's nothing is wrong with following a crowd or following people or following somebody, as long as
yeah.
you are following somebody who has a goal that you want to achieve. So that's what I would say is like look for somebody that you look up to, somebody who's morally right, who's doing the right thing. There's nothing wrong
Yeah.
with following them. You see, rather than seeing a group of people who are doing drugs or stealing or robbing people, and it's like, well, that's what everybody does. Is I need to be one of these people. So we don't have to be part of that crowd. So just follow
Yeah.
somebody who has a goal that you want to achieve. So that's how I
Yeah.
look at it. Mm,
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true.
mm,
As long as we don't have a goal or that identity of ourselves, we will never know
mm,
where we are going. That's very
100%,
true. Yeah.
100%.
Our other question is that what do you think is the biggest challenges or the things that is affecting our South Sudanese communities in this day?
The way I look at it is that we have failed to follow our culture. We have a culture that used to prohibit certain things, but today the things that our culture once upon a time used to prohibit, we are encouraging those
Yeah.
things. So we are no longer discouraging a lot of negative things, but we are supporting it. I see even older people, who drinks with their kids,
Yeah.
who smoke with their kids. You see, but back in the days, no one in my family drinks or smoke. But if I see, let's say, I was back home in Sudan, for example, I see my dad is smoking. If I want to smoke with him, I'll get beaten up. That's like older people. That's not for me, right?
Yeah.
But today, those older people, I see them encouraging the younger people,
Yeah.
and it's kind of it makes it a little bit hard, for younger people to have the right role models when some elders in the family
Yeah.
kind of, like I said, accepting what once our culture used to prohibit. Today we have normalized it. It's like, hey, look, it's cool. And it's not only the youth or the younger people issue, and sometimes it comes from the top down, from the older people, for
Yeah.
encouraging those immoral or unacceptable things that used to be
Yeah.
bad, but fortunately today we see it as good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like just an example, might not be related to the topic. Like somebody, anyways, it's not from me. I heard somebody online said a long time ago, some on YouTube, saying that for example, when the English people came to Africa, they
Yeah.
came with their culture, they came with technology and with this, but we left the English people's technology, but we took their culture, which is
Yeah.
not helping us today. But when the English people went to India, Indian people never took the English people's culture. They took the technology,
Yeah.
but they left the culture. Today, Indian people are very successful in Australia, more than us, right?
Yeah.
They never accepted the English people's culture, but we African, and today we the South Sudanese, we are the largest African here in Australia. We are following a culture that's not
Yeah.
helping us, right? And yeah, that's
Absolutely.
what.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that culture is not helping us at all. It's making us fail. And if we could revert back to our culture that kept us intact for generations, we
Yeah.
might we might see some lights at the end of the tunnel. But today, it's I don't know. I don't see any light at the end of the tunnel for the South Sudanese.
Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely. That's true. So our other question is that, why do you think there are so many youth that are out of their home today?
Again, a lot of those questions are kind of correlate or related to
Yeah.
each other. Yeah, very similar to the previous question. So the so I guess that there are a lot of factors, and
Yeah.
one of them I've mentioned before. A lot of youth don't have the right role model. Even their family can't even
Yeah.
be their role models. We have a lot of substance abuse, which never used to be part of our culture, and today it is. We yeah. So again, I reckon one of the things that I reckon it kind of relate to a lot of the is we have failed to follow our culture,
Yeah.
and our culture once upon a time used to guide us, but
Yeah.
today we are not following it, and we believe that we came to the Western world, we came to Australia. There's a system in place that if I leave my home, there's a system that's going to help me, whether it's Centrelink, if it's
Yeah.
there are so many other services out there.
Mm.
People believe that those system is there to help them, but
Mm.
if we investigate deep into a micro level, we are helping the system,
Yeah.
because the reason I'm saying that is when people are out of their home, when families are divided, the system end up benefiting from that. But we don't look at that. We think that,
Yeah.
okay, well, leaving, being single, or leaving, the young person, 18, 19, go living by myself. There are lots of ways where the system will start benefiting as soon as people start to scatter around. When we
Mm.
become divided, the system will start to benefit. But we look at it as like, when I live by myself, I'm getting Centrelink, I'm getting this, I'm getting that. We don't understand how the system works. And that's what I mean. If we investigate deeper, we later find out, like one example, one family pay less tax but two families pay more tax. So when people are single parents divided, we end up paying more tax. But if we are one, we pay less tax. So the system will encourage you. Hey, look, being divided, we're here to help you, but we are helping the system.
Yeah.
You see, we don't look at it. We don't look at it that way. So that's just one example. So yeah, like I said, there are a lot of factors contributing to those issues. Not following the culture, getting into substance abuse, not having role models. And not having the right family to have a role model. We have our families these days like to do things like, instead of saying, hey, look, my child has a problem, but we say, my child doesn't have a problem. It's that other child that is the problem to my child. We blame each other, right? So, and it makes it even harder, because when we start pointing fingers, then that means we are not pointing finger to the right problem. So the problem is here, but we're pointing a finger over there, right? So, and we just blame. And like somebody was saying to me recently, Sudanese kids in Melbourne causing problems because they hang around with Lebanese or something. I'm like, you see, so now the Lebanese family are saying their kids are getting problems because of the Sudanese kids, right? So it's not going to be pointing fingers, and nobody wants to point finger to the right direction or to the right problem. Yeah. So, and until we point finger to the right problem, then we can solve it. But nobody's pointing finger to the problem. Pointing a finger away from the problem, and we're not going to solve the problem. And it's
that's very true.
Yeah, it's kind of hard, to be honest.
Yeah, not a lot of people like to take accountable for themselves.
Yeah. So we always just want to say, oh, because of that other family, because that other group, because and the other group are pointing at us, and we are pointing to them, and they're pointing back.
Nice.
So until we point our finger to the actual problem, we probably, it's going to be hard to fix it.
Yeah, that's true. So our next question is that, why do you think there are so many, fathers and mothers are basically single, like single fathers and single mothers in our South Sudanese community?
So you would probably notice that there is one line or one sentence or one word that I'm using over and over again. Like I said, it's probably related with basically everything with us as South Sudanese in general, because again, we have failed to follow our culture. It's affecting us in every kind of way, whether in a relationship, in just in a friendship, in any kind of way, it's affecting us. And obviously every scenario, relationship has its own issue, and every issue varies, and it's different. But the things I can think of from the top of my head, we have failed to follow our culture. We had a culture that is designed to make a family successful, because if we look back to those people who used to follow the culture, their relationship was very successful. Their marriage was very successful. But today we are following a culture that, when we look at that culture, a lot of people from that culture, they have a very high rate of single parents. So now we are following that direction. We are following a culture that has a high rate. So what do we expect, right? So we are going to end up being like them, right? I don't want to be mentioning people. Don't want people to bash me on the comment later. But we are following a culture that culture itself has a lot of single people, and we are leaving a culture that used to keep people together, and it's resulting in a lot of single parents, single mothers, and single fathers. And I also see a lot of people, and again, it all kind of relate to the culture. It's like, for example, men failing to do their job as a man, women failing to do their job as women. And if we were following our culture says, this is your job, and this is this is, as a man, this is what you're supposed to do. As a woman, this is what you're supposed to do. But today, nobody's doing their job as a woman or as a man, and it's turning into a catastrophe, and it's dividing a lot of people. It's very unfortunate. I'll give a few examples. I don't want to get into a lot of details, especially when it comes to this topic, but a couple of examples. what I've heard from different scenarios, different, and that's why I said I can't say one answer is a solution or it's the same. That's that is the problem that everybody's having. Everybody's having different
Yeah.
problems.
Mm-hmm.
But what I can say is, like, some people would say, for example, my partner, my husband, he's a violent person. For example,
Yeah.
he's a substance abuser. For
Yeah.
example, those are all issues. And the other, men would say, for example, my woman or my wife doesn't listen. She came to Australia. She became this. She became that. So those are all issues. And when I look at it, again, it goes back to the culture, because our culture, we never used to see back in the days a man who would just stay at home and drink all day and do nothing. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you had a role, you need to go and execute your role, right?
That's right.
You've got kids, you need to feed them. You've got your wife, you need to provide for them. That's your role
Mm-hmm.
as a man. But
Mm.
not every man is doing that today. So,
That's
and
right.
that's what I mean. It's like every family is different. Everyone has different reason. And, and yeah, like I said before, some men would say, my woman doesn't want to listen. She
Yeah.
wants to, she wants to be the boss, whatever it may be. Those are all scenarios and factors that is causing distractions in
Yeah.
family, in families, and dividing people. And yeah, so I reckon those are the issues. And solution, again, there is no one solution, but it would help a lot if
Mm.
people were kind of, you know, um, like, just looking back, trying to remember what the culture used to say. If somebody doesn't know their role, it's not. I'm pretty sure it's not that hard. But people had their culture today. We want to follow Hawaja. We want to follow.
Yeah.
We want to follow Nazmunu. I'm out of, who's doing what. Group of people are doing this. That's what we need to do. And
Yeah.
leaving peace at home. We need to just follow the crowd, follow whoever, and the result obviously is not going to be very pleasant. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's what I could say. So.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
Mm. What
Um.
What do you reckon?
Well, yeah. It's it is the same thing. What you just said is very true.
Mm,
We as soon as we came to this country, it's like, okay, we forgot our
mm,
culture.
mm,
We forgot who we are, where we came from. We forgot our identity. We forgot, the discipline and the beauty of the culture. We forgot all of that. And
mm,
then we're adapted to new culture.
mm,
I mean, new, Australian way and
mm,
stuff like that, where
mm,
everything is just basically everywhere,
mm,
and going back again, like you said before, that discipline is a very important thing that we
mm,
need to have, whether it's in a home or in our communities. It's a very important thing, and we need to know who we are as a person.
mm,
I do feel like, there is no a lot of we miss the bigger picture,
mm,
you know, who we are, where we come from, our mother backgrounds, our father backgrounds.
mm,
We just left that, and we forgot all about that and living other people's lives,
mm.
you
Correct.
know.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So I do agree with what you said. It's 100%.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate, but yeah.
Yeah. So our next question is that how would you advise, our Sudanese brothers who are single and they are out of the homes? How would you advise them?
Um. So, t- single parents, single fathers.
Single fathers.
Um. So it's too late to say don't be a single father, but those people who are single fathers, it's what I have noticed from some single fathers, for example, is they kind of fail to get in touch with their kids, and
Mm,
I find that very sad.
mm,
And that's how later, when the kids grow up, not only that they wouldn't have a lot of connection with the father, but that's how people end up being in the street, because having both parents is super important. That's how I look at it.
yeah.
And growing up just with one, parents, just a mother, or just growing up with a father, there will always be that kind of teaching missing. So it's very, the thing I could say say, you know, because obviously, like I said, I can't say don't be a single father when they already are. It's just good to now try to, you know, people to use their time wisely and let me spend time with their kids and try to be their role model rather than a child
Yeah.
later end up looking at someone from the street as their
Yeah.
role model because
Yeah.
you know the father didn't exist. You know, so
Yeah.
having two role models is better than having one. And you know, having a mother and a father both contributing to the child's life, it would definitely help, and hopefully it will improve later. You know, the child's life and things like that. But yeah, people at the same time also needs to, you know, like maybe avoid what made a person a single father in the first place. That's another thing I could say. It's like, you know, some people
Yeah.
became single fathers because maybe they were substance abusers, maybe because they were violent people, maybe because they were many things, right? Maybe
Yeah.
just for future reference, maybe the thing that put us in that situation, maybe we should just avoid it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Obviously didn't make us succeed in that relationship.
Yeah.
It failed our relationship. So obviously what was not a good thing is not, it will never be a good thing. You can do it again in the future. It's not
Yeah.
going to change. You know, maybe you were drinking before, drinking in the future is going to make, you know, it's going to make you have a good relationship. It's going to fail again. So
Yeah.
maybe, yeah, whatever thing that was bad and made maybe somebody fail in the first place, maybe we should try to just avoid that as well.
Yeah.
Whatever
That's
it may be.
yeah. 100.
I don't want to mention anything, but yeah, there's a lot of them. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah. So
any
now,
opinion. Do you want to give any opinion about that? Any, or you can go to the next one.
no, not
Okay,
really.
that's all right.
Yeah. So our next question is that just a small encouragement for our sisters who are single mothers. How would you advise them?
Um, so what a lot of single mothers who I came across personally, the ones I met, I've I've got a lot of friends who are single mothers, and one thing that I've seen in common, a lot of them kind of lose hope. It's and you know, and I believe that their value depreciate, and and that's what I have noticed from a lot of single mothers. It's like they lose
Yeah.
hope, and now their value have depreciated
Yeah.
because they have one, two, whatever, how many kids they do have with their ex partner.
Yeah.
But in my own opinion, the way I look at it is like people need to be optimistic because in my own opinion, their value don't depreciate or don't drop or decrease
Mm.
unless, for example, okay, somebody lost hope, you know, now I need to start drinking alcohol. Or some woman,
Yeah.
for example, will probably be like, you know, my ex-partner used to sleep with a lot of women. You know, we're in Australia now, you know, men can sleep with a lot of women. I can sleep with a lot of men too. That's when your value will start to depreciate, to drop, you see? So maybe the ex used to do something bad. They don't have to do that,
Yeah.
and yeah, be optimistic. But a lot of women, it's like I've lost hope. I'm not gonna find a man. Start drinking, and I've seen a lot of them very sad. You know, start drinking, get into substance abuse, get into drugs. My ex used to sleep with a lot of women. You know, we live in Australia now. What men can do, we can do it as well. I'm gonna start sleeping with a lot of men too. After that, that's how I look. Now the value is dropping. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But because there are some people, you know, became single mothers not because of their fault. Sometimes the culture itself does not help. Like one example that I know a few people who became single not because it was the man or the woman, it was because of a dowry problem. You see what I'm saying? So the girl
Mm.
got pregnant, and now the family is asking for too much dowry, caused problem. People became single. Now here was not the guy or the girl's problem. Now that was the family contributed to them separating because sometimes our culture is not that great either, you know.
Yeah.
So and that's what I mean. So just because a woman became single might not be her fault. Um, so the encouragement I would say is maybe whatever it may, you know, led them to that situation. Like I said before about the men as well. If a woman used to do the wrong things, let's say for example from the beginning, maybe we need to do the right thing, you know, or maybe it was not her fault, maybe it was the family's fault. Now she became single.
Mm.
Again, there's no point losing hope and saying now I'm single, I'm gonna start doing all the wrong stuff because nobody wants me
Yeah.
anyway. And then
Yeah.
that's when their value will start to drop, and people will look at you as a bad person. will look at that woman as a bad person because now she started to engage herself in things that are not, especially does not make her look good. So, but a single woman who's doing the right thing, in my own opinion, I don't think their value drop will start to drop after, depending on what action they start to take after they became a single parent. So, that's how I look at it. Because not every woman who's single, she's single because it's her fault, and not every man who is single, again, it's that man is single because the man was a drug abuser or because a bad man, Sometimes it's the other person's fault. Sometimes it's our culture's fault. Sometimes it's our community's fault. Talking about something that's not their business and dividing families, So that's what I mean. So it depends. So sometimes it's the community's fault. Now the guy and the girl listening to too many people talking about their relationship. Now they break up, and they didn't break up because the guy was a cheater, the girl was a cheater, the guy was drinking alcohol. Maybe they were both good people. It was just the surrounding, the family, the culture, whatever is part of that culture, kind of end up destroying the relationship. So, and I would just say people need to be optimistic and focus on what will elevate them, and surely that will have a better, a better relationship in the future. That's how I look at it. So, I hope that answers your question.
That's very true.
Mm.
Very, very true. Yeah. So
if you want to contribute, if you've got anything to say, go ahead. If not, go.
For me, one thing that I'd basically say to the Sudanese sisters who are single mothers, to basically never give up on who they are.
100%.
Never
be optimistic.
Never lose yourself.
No, never lose hope.
Never lose yourself just because the partner have walked out of your life. That does not mean that it is the end of you. Sometimes that people take things really, really hard and they lose who they are. Because you need to look at it that way. Right now here, you've got little ones that are basically looking up onto you. So if you lose yourself, those little ones are also gonna be perishing.
Correct.
So you need to continue rising, and you need to sometimes when we reach that broken point, that is when we need to basically, do our best. And sometimes God allows that brokenness in order for us to rise again, And just because that it is raining today, that does not mean that it's not going to be sunny the next day. So it's going to be tough right now, but, it's going to get better, 100%. So for me, it's just like keep pushing.
I agree.
Keep pushing. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. So the next question is basically, if you were given one opportunity to change one thing in our community, what would that be?
Obviously, it's what's the word? Kind of impossible to change people, but I would just hope if it was, let's say, it was possible, even though it's not possible. I think we just need to, look back to where we came from, and maybe we need to look into our culture and why it was, doing so well, and the people who followed it are doing so well until today. Because, like I said, we are, sometimes you follow something, you try to follow a process, and when that process you followed fails or makes you fail, then obviously you don't want to follow it again. Maybe follow something different, or maybe I see a path that everybody followed and those people have failed. Maybe I shouldn't follow that path. So what I'm trying to say is we are following today, a society, a failing society, and we can see the ramification. We can see the destruction that it's causing. It's causing to us. So maybe it's not working because obviously it's causing a disaster, and people are scattered everywhere and all that kind of stuff. So if I could change one thing, maybe we need to follow our culture. And I don't say our culture is amazing and great, but
Yeah.
it's obviously better than what we are following.
Mm.
And and when we look into a lot of um, n- native cultures or indigenous cultures, they are kind
Mm.
of all similar, connected, or the same. And when you see back in the day, the people who used to follow those cultures, like the Indian culture, Indian having native indigenous culture because they are indigenous people too. Like we are African, we are indigenous people. Australia
Yeah.
has indigenous people. Their culture was great, but today the indigenous of Australia don't follow their culture. They are lost.
Mm.
You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? So
Mhm.
anyone who doesn't follow their culture, because the Western society is created not to bring people together. And
That's
like
right.
I said before, it was not even meant to support us. We end up
Yeah.
supporting the system. It's like, I'll give you $5 today because I know I'm going to get hundreds of dollars later from you. So you might think now, oh, this guy's cool. He's supporting me today, but
Mm.
your generation will fail and I'm going to make money
Yeah.
from your generation. So the system
Yeah.
was built. So, we believe that today we are making money, getting a little bit of money from Centrelink, from there and that. And we think that's supporting us today. It might support us today, but then when you have 5 kids who have failed, then it didn't support you. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
now, everybody's paying money in fines. You're going to court, you're going all these paying court fees. Now the money is going that, somebody thought that they benefited from the system, but the system ended up benefiting later in the long run.
Yeah.
So if we look into our culture and try maybe to follow that, that would help. That's one thing I would say if I could change. We change everybody's mindset. Hey, look, the cultures we are following, the society is causing lots of distraction. So we need to look elsewhere.
Yeah. That's true.
Mm.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So our next question is that what help do you think our community need?
What help? Our community need lots of help. Probably divine intervention. We probably need divine intervention, to be honest. Help is probably not even the right word. We probably need Jesus. Help probably not the right
Yeah.
word. Yeah. Um, because the reason I said that is because we have drifted so far to the point that help is not gonna reach us. So that's why I'm like, yeah, we have drifted so far.
Okay, we're not that bad, you know.
Huh?
We're not that bad.
Hey, look, that's how I look at it. Like I said, we have drifted, or majority of our South Sudanese people
Yeah.
have drifted so far to bring them back to the right path. I think almost it's impossible. Only a small number of people will be able to either come back, because right now there's not many people who are following the right path. Everybody, like I said, everyone is a follower and they're following other followers. So yeah, and the only thing that I could say is maybe, and that would only work if we restart again or with the rising generation. Maybe
Mm.
we need to start teaching those kids from younger, the ones who are not in youth, because the ones who are 18, 19, it's too late to bring them back.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to bring those ones back. But the ones who are not at that age yet, somebody who's 9, 10, 11, 12, even 13 or whatever, I reckon a proper education, it would help. It's like, hey, look, our culture says this is good, this is bad, and this is what made people successful. This is why people were successful back in the day. And those people who have failed today, you can see them, whether in the justice system or whatever, because that
Yeah.
have failed this past. You don't want to fail. So we need to kind of implant that kind of teaching into the ones that are growing, who are not being brainwashed yet, who are not being distracted yet. So, but the one who are being distracted is going to be hard. But the one who are not there yet, maybe we can catch them by before they get into the street, by giving
Yeah.
them the right advice, by implementing the right seed in their mind. So when they grow up, hopefully that would follow the right advice. But if we don't get involved in their life, like I was saying earlier, we don't get involved in the father don't get in the kid's life or whatever, they are just doing whatever, then the kids don't have a role model, and the father who's a role model first is not in their life, second don't what they see their fathers doing or their parents doing, not the right thing. So here, that wrong thing that the parents are doing, what they're smoking, what they're drinking, the mother's doing and the father's doing, that becomes the right thing to that child, and then they're gonna grow up following that. And like I was saying before, we have even older people today not following the right thing. So yeah, maybe we can just catch the younger generation before they end up like the one who already lost, before they get lost, become a lost generation. Maybe we can teach those ones, implement the right seed of them.
That's true.
Mm.
That's true. Yeah. Our next question is, how can we do better in our community?
Doing better in our community,
Mhm.
again, all of those questions are very tough because we have a divided community, and uniting our community is, again, it's almost impossible according to my opinion. But if we can be one community, form a united community, have a unity, it it helps in a way, because when people are united, that means people have the same mindset. Like me and you are, where you're united, then we can go
Yeah.
out and make an impact. But if I'm against you, you're against me, I'm saying it's your fault, and you're saying this is that person's fault, we can never make an impact in our own community, right? Because the community itself is against each other, it's divided. So, and that's why it's hard for the community to make an impact in their own community, because the community themselves are divided. So, if our community can be united, I'm not sure if it can, but if it can be united, then we can make a bigger impact. But individual people trying to make an impact, they will make impact, but that impact will not be seen, because that will
Yeah.
make a small impact.
Yeah.
You see, you as an individual person going to, to teach people and whatever, you will definitely make an impact, but your impact won't be seen, because it's just you by yourself. But if there was a community who are united with one goal,
Yeah.
one mission, we need to attack, there's a problem that we need to tackle, that problem, we can probably make a bigger impact, solve a bigger problem. So yeah, and yeah, it's just that having a community that is divided, it's extremely hard, to achieve bigger things. And like I've mentioned earlier, which I will mention a few times, people will probably end up hating me for that. But there are people, older people in our own community, who are not doing the right thing themselves. You see, and then it's hard. And those are the same people that later you will see them in some meeting saying the younger people are not doing the right thing. And that's what I've
Yeah.
said earlier. We are pointing fingers to all different directions, and it's kind of hard to solve the problem that we have today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's tough.
So, but
Yeah.
yeah, if we can unite, it will help a lot. But
Yeah.
yeah, if we don't, yeah, if we don't unite, and that I would probably mention one more thing. Might not sound appropriate. um, for example, I've seen, if you go to certain places, and like I used to go clubbing, right? I used to go clubbing, and when I used to go clubbing, I see all the people, all probably people on the 50s, in the club trying to pick up some young girls. You see what I'm saying? And what I mean is, and that's what I mean, like our culture, because it's because this is culturally, we don't do that. Like I know, some of the older people in our culture that marry more than one wife, but it's done in a different way. They don't go down the street chasing young girls, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so they go to the girl family, which is a totally different context.
Yeah.
So, but today, older people doing probably what younger people do, and then we are now trying to kind of, empower the young one to do the right thing. The older one trying to empower that's why I said we have that, drifted so far away from our culture, doing things that, our culture prohibited, morally incorrect, and all this kind of stuff. But everybody's following it today, whether it's old or young, and yeah, it's just causing destruction.
That's true.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Our last question is that what advice do you have for us as a community?
Again, I'm pretty sure I gave the advice on basically on every question. Is it will probably just be, we need to probably just refer back to our culture, it would be good if a coach actually had a book that people could go and read or refer to it or something. It's like, as a man or a woman, I don't know what to do. I need to go read South Sudanese coach book. I should write a book.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody should write a book. Maybe somebody should write a book because otherwise our culture will end up getting kind of like washed out, eliminated, and the next generation doesn't know what it is. Because it's even fading away today. It will get to a point, in some point in the future where it would just won't exist. So, but yeah, if there was a book, maybe the advice is I would write a book. Actually, I'm in the process of writing a book, got nothing to do with the culture though. But that's actually something that changed my head. Now, maybe I should. But I will need a group of people because I will need opinions from different people, a kind of collaborative approach. But I reckon that would be a good thing. And then maybe that book can now be taught in school or teach the little kids, hey, look, my child is sitting down. This is our culture book. Maybe we'll have a kids version. We start teaching the kids. But so what I'm trying to say is definitely we need to, start following our culture. That's the only thing I would say. And because what we do today does not fall in line with our culture. I remember when I first came to Australia, I used to say to Khawajat, when they asked me, back at high school, they asked me things like, come over for a drink or let's go drink. And I used to tell the Australian kids, look, we don't drink in our culture. It's not our culture. Today, I can't say the same line. You see, I can't go out there and say to a white Australian person, alcohol is not our culture. Everybody drinks. It's like we drink even more than them. You see what I'm saying? So I can't use that line. But back in the days when I first came to Australia, it's the line I used to use, and they used to believe me maybe because at that time, not many Sudanese people were even into it, you see. But today, those people who used to say drinking is bad a long time ago, smoking, taking drugs is bad, doing this is bad. Those the same people who were saying it's bad back in the days, now they're saying it's good. They are supporting it, they're encouraging it. It's not in line with our culture. We need to go back and start following the culture. That's the encouragement that I would give.
Wonderful. Yeah. Wonderful. That is wonderful. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for your encouragements. And as we are listening to ZUZU, I hope and I pray that we do take the advice in. And that's one thing that I realized with our community is that, I'm sorry for the word, but we are very ignorant and we don't like to listen to one another. We think that we have it all together while we actually don't have it all together. And that is the reason why there's a lot of things that is going on. So I do encourage you all to share, like, and subscribe to ZUZU LMTV, and do go there, watch the videos. Knowledge is very important. Even the Bible says that people are perishing because of the lack of knowledge. We don't just think like it's not okay to just think that it's right for you not to be educated. It's important for you to be educated every single day, and the only person that we need to know that we are in battle with is ourselves. You have to educate yourself to be better than who you are yesterday, than the person that you were yesterday. So please do keep learning, keep on doing what you can for the community. And we have this thing in Sudanese that says that واحد يدينا بقدر تصفق. So we need each other. We need each other throughout. We need each other. Once again, thank you all for watching. My name is Miracle, and with ZUZU. Thank you all once again for watching.
Shukran, Miracle. So I'm not sure if I have anything to say, but I don't really have much to say. Hopefully, me and Miracle will do another video in the near future. So do stay tuned. Check out ZUZU on TV. Also check out Miracle's Facebook page. Is it Seed of Empowerment? because she also has a lot of encouraging stories. So you see, we are not just telling stories, we are sharing valuable stories. So I hope you have enjoyed this video, and if you did enjoy this video, please don't forget to like this video, share this video, and definitely subscribe to my YouTube channel, ZUZU LMTV, and then you can head to Miracle's Facebook page, Seeds of Empowerment, and follow her. She's got amazing content. But if you are watching this video from Seeds of Empowerment, you can follow Seeds of Empowerment and then go to ZUZU LMTV and subscribe. But yeah, this is the end of the video, guys. I hope we did not offend anybody during the creation of this video or while we were recording this video, because our purpose for making this video was to empower and encourage people. Our purpose was not to offend anybody, but if we did offend anyone, I do apologize, and I do apologize on behalf of Miracle as well. So yeah, hopefully I didn't offend anybody, but yeah, for now, this is the end of the video. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Subscribe and follow, because we will have a lot of amazing content like this one coming up. So when you follow and subscribe, you will be notified when we upload new content. But for now, we love you guys all. Stay blessed and peace out.